What's up, everybody? Welcome to Gaming Without Parole. My name's Bryan Paul, and to my right, your left, is the infamous Mike Zeller.
Hey.
All right, and to my left, your right, is Allison M, making her second appearance on our podcast, the first in video form.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey. What's up? What's going on? What's happening? Yep, and we're done. Guys, we have party hats on.
We do.
It's a party, and we're all sober, and we're boring, and it's Mike's birthday.
That's exactly how all of my birthdays are.
Yeah.
Sober and boring.
That is boring.
Yeah.
You should do something about that.
We'll see.
The sober part, at least.
Maybe next year.
It's okay to be drunk and boring. I lived most of my life like that. Do you care to reveal your age on the air?
I am 32.
Holy
today.
shit.
I know.
Wow.
Old as fuck.
Wow. I think I'm still the oldest person in this room by far.
Yep.
So that's the party hats. That's the banner. Mike's birthday. If you don't watch, then that means you're not festive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're just really disappointing me. I'm going to be really upset.
Allison, since this is probably everyone's first time seeing you on Gaming Without Parole, since we haven't shared the audio podcast with anybody,
We'll get there someday.
You want to? I realize that we never do this. Every time we have a guest, we just okay, go ahead, talk. And instead of being, introducing yourself and maybe telling us what your nerd history is like. Tell the people at home who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, in terms of nerdery, I guess I'd have to say that my real formative years were kind of in junior high to high school when I first really discovered the internet. Oh. And I started, just experiencing the world of fan communities for different properties like anime, video games, and all sorts of things like that. And I became something of a fan artist and hooked up with a few fan communities for games that I was really into at the time, and actually made a very good group of friends who have been with me all through the years.
Awesome. So you made internet friends that became your real friends.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
Awesome. That doesn't always happen.
Most of them weren't catfishing.
You'd be surprised, actually. One of the things I think that people feel...
Oh, no.
I know there's a lot of paranoia about, kids are on the internet and they're talking to all these strangers and they're going to run into, skin thieves who are going to take them away and steal their skin.
No, not my skin.
Kids today are actually
I would too.
Really savvy, because the reason why they're on their internet is actually to talk to people in their community who are into the same things that they are. So you get these kids all together who are talking about the same sort of thing, and each fandom has particular sort of nomenclature and language about the stuff that they're into. And as soon as a stranger shows up who obviously doesn't know what they're talking about, it's very apparent.
And they're just killed immediately.
Well, and also just to add to that, I think it would be a real shame to keep kids from being able to express themselves and have fun on the internet because of the off chance that they're going to run into somebody of ill repute.
And I think
somebody of my repute.
Yeah, we're not. Everybody on the internet isn't like Brian.
Right.
They're not all child predators.
Exactly.
To be honest, you've got all these kids nowadays who are completely insulated and kept from going inside because there's that constant fear of, if you're going to run around the neighborhood, somebody's going to pull you in a car and I'll never see you again.
Right.
So what have they got to do instead? Stay inside the house, play video games, and talk on the internet.
Yep. Where someone could possibly pull them into a car and take them away.
The Onion a couple years back did an article that was the title was something like two undercover agents don't realize that they're talking to each other in child predator chat room.
That sounds familiar. Awesome.
Wow.
Guys, I got to be completely honest. I've been having real trouble sleeping, so my insomnia has been out of control. And the only thing I could really think to do about it was to cut way back on caffeine, because I drink 3 pots of coffee a day. What could be the problem?
Can't imagine.
So I started drinking a lot more decaf. And I was like, this is going to cure not only my insomnia, but I'm going to be way less obnoxious. It turns out the obnoxiousness had nothing to do with the caffeine, which was kind of a sad thing to realize. I was like, this is just a personality fault now.
I'm not an addict. I'm just a dick.
Right. So I've been sleeping great, but I'm still obnoxious.
Well.
And on that note, what have you been playing this week, Mike?
What haven't I been playing?
Well, you sent me a text not that long ago, a couple days ago.
I know.
And you were having trouble finding something that really resonated with you.
Yeah. So I in between my bouts of Final Fantasy Record Keeper, which they keep dropping more content, and it's so good.
I don't spend anything on the this because
no, it's
iOS
totally
game.
free.
Okay.
It's so great. But in between that, I finally. So I think I had said in our text, I thought of a game that I wanted to play, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go do that." And then I realized I didn't actually own it.
And did you tell me what that game was?
I didn't. It was Been There, Dan That. They're indie point-and-click adventure games, made by two guys named Ben and Dan. They're very clearly like self-indulgent, like we're making a game about us kind of deals. But they are such amazing. It's Been There, Dan That, and then Time, Gentlemen, Please. They're sequels, but they're basically like two parts of the same story.
How did you realize that you don't own the game that you thought you did?
So I could have sworn that I had bought them at some point during one of like the Humble sales or from Good Old Games, and I went to go play them, and they just weren't on my computer. I looked everywhere, and so I was like, "Well, shit." So there's actually a game that I feel like playing, and I can't find it. So I just went and bought them because I was like, "Screw this!" Yeah, for $5, I can manage.
But you went through a list of games. You tried to get into a bunch, and none of them were working for you.
No.
Do you think you're suffering from a bit of gamer fatigue?
I do. I think you kind of hit that point in your life where you've played so many video games and you're so familiar with the tropes and just the standard garbage that you just don't want to do that. And I think coming off of, we had talked last week, or it never got aired, coming off of Shuffle, oops.
Oh, yeah.
We had a bit of technical difficulty, folks. We recorded a podcast that you'll never see.
You'll never see. The lost episode.
Yeah, that can be like a bonus when we finally get subscribers. The fat episode.
That's our Resident Evil 1.5.
Yeah, the camera looks all fucked up, so we both look like 40 pounds heavier.
Yeah, we did. We looked fat. And that wasn't the only reason we didn't narrate.
Yeah.
It was also garbage.
Yeah, it did not go well. But, yeah, and especially coming off of Shovel Knight that does everything right, I feel like playing games after that don't, the wrongs just jump out at you that much more. And I have less of a patience for the tedium that I would have put up with in my younger years, back in when I was 31, those halcyon days. I don't know, just it wasn't doing it for me. But I did finally download Been There, Dan That, and they're great. They're basically love letters to old LucasArts adventure games, but with a slightly edgier sense of humor and a more, I guess, R-rated dialogue, or a strong PG-13, anyways.
Sounds great.
They're really great. They use. When you look at them at first, they look like shit. And if you look at still shots of them, because they use this very scratchy art style, almost like we talked about, Rakugaki Showtime, that game where the characters are all little doodles in a notebook, so they're very like, the arms and feet and hands are just kind of like little circles. The arms and legs are So Been There, Dan That has a similar, sketchy style. It looks like someone kind of just threw it together, but it's all very uniform, so you can tell that there, it was intentional.
Cool.
And it's definitely, it's not just a love letter to like point and click adventure games. It's decidedly LucasArts. I think they even use the same dialogue font from the old games. Yeah,
gotta love that.
And they poke fun at those games, but in a very like. Loving kind of way. You can tell that they're really into it. But the running joke, which I love, is that you know how in point-and-click adventure games you usually end up kind of screwing over all of the NPCs that you encounter. Like you kind of end up ruining their lives.
Yeah, you either take stuff from them that they need, or you give them something fake when they thought it was real.
Yeah, or like Monkey Island, like Guybrush just nails Stan up in a coffin and throws him into the ocean, like.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. You're doing horrible things to people, but the joke is that you're the hero, though. And but in this game, Ben just accidentally murders like everybody you encounter, and that it's to the point that it becomes a running joke.
Oh man!
Like when you run into some guy late in the game, and Ben's like, "We got to think of a way past it," and Dan's just like, "I'm gonna just start digging a hole. Like I know how this is gonna end." And he's like, "No, it's not. We'll be fine. He'll be fine," and he ends up killing him.
Of course. That sounds great.
Yeah, and it's not like he's going around shooting everyone. It's through the same stuff.
Sure.
And it just goes back and forth. He's like, no, they're just sleeping. And he's like, they're not breathing, Ben. They're dead. I think they just need less air than us. It's great. So
Sounds reminiscent of like the parrot sketch in Monty Python.
Yeah. So that's what I've been playing.
Awesome. And Allison. So you said you haven't really been playing a whole lot recently, right?
Right.
So what have you been doing that could fill the nerd hole that we have here for you?
Fill the nerd hole.
Right?
Yeah. Well, the latest movie
that
I did go see Avengers Age of Ultron, and I found that pretty entertaining.
Okay.
I'm not super huge into the Marvel fandom, but I was very much entertained by the movie. And
it's because it had sexy robots in it.
Exactly. I was about to say, the big frou-frou-all on the internet right now is all of these people who are going to see this movie and just supposedly...
Just pounding it right there in the theater. Just...
Is that not what you're supposed to do in a big dark room full of other people?
I don't know. It's social mores. We're such a puritanical society.
No one ever taught me how to go to the movies. I just did it.
Well, my reflection on this whole experience was seeing all these folks watching this movie and then coming out and having these sort of semi-histrionic reactions like, why am I attracted to this character? When I feel that nowadays it's more... being a fan of something and fan communities and fan activities aren't as the kind of hidden, alienated kids activity center. You know, this isn't where the weird kids do stuff in private anymore. Everybody knows about the Marvel movies. Everybody knows about comic books and video games and science fiction and how it's popular. And you'll even hear about people joking about fan fiction and fan art in like major TV broadcasts. Yep. Only like, you want to read my fan fiction? So when people have this experience of going into this movie and they come out and say, oh my god, I was attracted to the robot, what is wrong with me? I find it more of a reach or a push that doesn't need to be there, because it's like, look, he's incredibly well acted, lushly voiced, and he has the body of a Greek god. You're supposed to be attracted. This is a thing that was intentional. It's okay.
People get weirded out about stupid things, don't they?
Yeah, but I find that if you're one of those people who gets weirded out about everything and every strange little hobby or something that you see, then you probably have something really bad in your closet.
Probably.
That's what I keep telling people. There is nothing wrong with me being sexually aroused by Andy Serkis having his arm sliced off. That is a very, very erotic moment in those films.
Oh, good Lord.
Missed it.
Damn it, Brian. You know, comedy is yes and, not sorry I didn't see the movie and.
Oh, are we supposed to be funny?
I don't even know anymore. I'm
going home, as always.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose there's a certain measure of humor to be gathered from just
pounding it in the movie theater.
I was about to say
laughing
how lackluster we are in our approach.
Yeah. You're an anime person, though.
Yes.
Yes. Now, I don't want anything spoiled for me, but I'm recently slowly getting into Attack on Titan. Is this something you've experienced?
I started out with a little bit of the Attack on Titan manga, and I think what I took away from that was this is not going to go the place where I want it to go very fast. Because it's, they set you up with that starter,
yep.
What's in the basement? Mm-hmm. And then...
Wait, don't tell me what's in the basement. This is how early on I am.
No, that's the thing. Nobody knows what's in the basement yet anyways.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Spoilers. Spoilers, you still don't know what's in the basement. Yeah, I think I totally agree with you, and I don't think I realized that I agreed with you until the moment you said it. It really wasn't going where I wanted it to go. Like, this town seemed like it had this rich lore, and they gave us an episode to explore it, and I could have gone a whole season before the Titans attacked. Because it's almost like horror movies. I was watching a couple, like, really ghetto ones on Netflix, but the ones that are really good are the ones that make you like care about the characters before the bad shit happens. And I don't think Attack on Titan did that successfully. Although, of course, I'm only 5 episodes in. So
Well,
it's not fair for me to say that really quite yet.
Yeah, I've heard a few other. I haven't seen any of it, but I have had a few other people tell me that it kind of sets up for something and then goes in a different direction that's not as interesting.
What I will say about it, though, is that it's universally praised. It's one of those that's, there are so many animes out there that's like love it or hate it. Oh, it's too much action. Oh, it's too boring. It's whatever. And this one, across the board, anyone who really likes anime has been like, great.
Well, it does what it does very well, but what it does is sort of indulge in that kind of feudal politics and military skirmishes rather than telling the story of why is the world like this. So if you like to see like crazy battles on wires, and if you like to see, all these subterfuge things like, this is how the politics in a post-apocalyptic world go, then yeah, it's great. But if you want to find out why the hell there are giant monstery people running around and eating everybody,
right?
Well, sorry. You're just going to have to wait.
Oh, and possibly a long time. Yeah. But it's successful, so hopefully we'll get there eventually,
yes.
Even if it takes a long time. Which is, I think, pretty cool. I know the Walking Dead TV show doesn't appeal to everybody because the biggest complaint I've heard is that they don't explore what's causing the zombies. And for me, that wasn't terribly necessary. Zombies are just kind of like a part of my world, whether they exist or not.
If you've got a phenomenon in science fiction or fantasy or that sort of post-apocalyptic world that is already as well known as zombies, it doesn't really need to be explained as much.
Yeah.
Because
Titans, though, maybe a little different.
Giant freaked out people monsters that eat people, you want to know why.
Right.
But zombies are so omnipresent in our media that you don't really even need to know why. It's just, they're zombies.
Well, the reality is, too, I feel like, every zombie movie, every zombie story, it's always like, we got to stop the zombies. Where in reality, if there was a zombie apocalypse, most of us, upon experiencing that, would not immediately be like, we got to stop the zombies.
Yeah.
We'd be like, fucking shit, there's zombies everywhere. I don't want to die. Like,
True.
That's because, in my estimation, the modern zombie story is not so much kind of survival horror. It's more of an indulgence. Like, there are certain works that get to they get to grips of, like, what is it going to be like trying to rebuild the world in the aftermath of this sort of thing. But a lot of them sort of diverges into, what would life be like if I could just shoot people without consequence?
Which, there's a need
awesome.
for that, I think. There is. It's that release, I think, that people need. That just, like, what would life be like in a video game, basically. Mm-hmm. Which, yeah, pretty awesome. Yeah.
Well, it depends on which video game. No.
Nope. It'd all be great, because I'd be the main character, and I'd be awesome. It'd start off pretty weak. I'd probably die a few times, but then when I could, to level 10, 11, 12, fucking kicking ass.
Nice.
Okay. So, I'm just going to kind of fast forward a bit. I've been playing Broken Age more, to go back to the LucasArts adventure.
Yeah.
And, man, is it good. It is really good. I wish I had a more solid attention span because, oh god, like every time I get stuck, I'm like, I'm gonna go play Shovel Knight. This is what I'm gonna do instead. I'm just gonna. And
then you get stuck in Shovel Knight, and it's like, time to go jack off in a movie theater.
Yeah, totally. So it's I've gotten to the point where there are 2 stories being told, in at least in episode 1, the boy and the girl, and I have.
Don't mind us.
Yeah, and I've gotten as far as I can in the boy's story, where it automatically switches you to the girl's story, because you can bounce back and forth if you get stuck, which I think is a great mechanic.
Yeah.
Have you played it?
No, I haven't. It sounds very reminiscent of like Day of the Tentacle, where you have the 3 people in 3 different historic periods, and you got to kind of jump back and forth all the time.
Yeah. I haven't gotten to a point where any of this is connected. So like, there's 2 entirely different worlds at this point. But the humor is great, and the puzzles so far are basic enough where, like, if you don't figure one out yourself, you're like, I'm dumb. Really good stuff, though. I'm really happy with that. And man, I downloaded something that I can't remember the name of, and don't play it.
There you go, mystery game.
Glad I can help.
Don't download any games.
No.
Except for Broken Age and Shovel Knight.
That's right. Did you finish Bravely Default or Xenoblade? Have you given up on both of those?
I think so, yeah.
People were wondering.
Yeah, I know.
I was getting lots of emails saying, what's up with Mike?
All those comments. Yeah, I'm so close to the end of Bravely Default that I feel like I could finish it, but it's just such a fucking slog. It's just that the whole last chunk of the game is just fighting the same boss battles over and over and over again. And I'm not even talking about, like, Jordan made that joke about, like, or no, you did, about, like, the old school Mega Man, fighting the bosses. This is not boss rush mode, fight everybody one more time. This is fight every boss in the game, like, 4 or 5 more times.
Yep.
Oh my god.
That's so bad. Ugh, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Let's not talk about it anymore. All right. All right, I got so much to talk about. We have
awesome.
So much to
this
talk
is
about.
So good.
All right. First and foremost, the Lucasfilm president, we talked about this a bit last week.
A little bit, yeah.
Confirms that there's a new Indiana Jones movie. As far as we can tell, there's not even a script. There's no details. There's just, hey, we're going to make it. What's the point of that? Why even tell us?
Well, yeah, I felt that there's no point to the Indiana Jones movies ever since the end of Last Crusade, because he drank from the cup of Christ. He's immortal now. There's no risk anymore.
Well, for a little
Very
while,
true.
Anyways. For a little while. The because remember the Crusader had been drinking from it, but he got old. And the other Crusader,
After,
his brother...
like, 2,000 years.
Yeah. Yeah, of drinking from it, like, regularly. I mean, he's probably, like, brushing his teeth with it, every morning.
Yeah, good point.
Where the in the God, I'm such a fucking
Excuse
nerd.
me for not being up on my grail.
Sorry. Well, his brother had been drinking from it, and he left, and he died shortly thereafter. So it's not foolproof.
But I think the more important story,
Is why do I know all of this?
nope, is the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull sucked. Like, I mean, that was bad. Like, I tried to watch it recently. I saw it in the theater, and I was like, and I watched it, and it wasn't even like Star Wars Episode 1 kind of like blinded for like an hour and a half to be like, oh yeah, this is good. No. The entire time I was in that movie theater, I was like, this is awful. What are they doing? Please don't let that kid be Indiana Jones's kid. In that, spoilers. And I was like, because I could tell what they were doing at that point was setting it up to be like, new Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford can't do this forever, so here's our new Indy. And that would be a bad idea. But also a bad idea, making any more Indiana Jones movies with Harrison Ford. I think the first 3 were it, and now they suck. So I don't know who they're trying to basically, like...
Chris Pratt. Yep, it's Chris Pratt. That's on the rumor mill. He's going to be the new Indiana Jones.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Big McLarge huge?
Yep.
What?
Because did you see the whole beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy was an homage to Indiana Jones, and they're like, oh wait, there we go, he already did it, perfect.
Gotcha. Now I'm caught up. Thank you.
Oh gosh.
God.
It's all they're owned by the same company now, so that's going to be the crossover. They're going to be Indiana Jones is raiding a tomb, and all of a sudden fucking Iron Man comes in. It's like, quick, we gotta go fight Thanos.
You see, if this happened on the internet in somebody's fan fiction, somebody would have come out of the comments section and said, this is stupid. What are you, 12 years old? But now it's our mass market entertainment.
Yeah, this is absolutely true.
And it's great. Because then the next comment down would be fap, 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 fap.
Then they gaze into each other's eyes lovingly.
Yeah. So,
I'm never this dirty. Like, it's just because you're here.
this is tame, guys. We're just fine.
Yeah.
So ukulele.
There we go. You talking about that?
Awesome. It became the fastest video game ever to hit $1 million on Kickstarter. Were you like an N64 girl?
I kind of missed a lot of that sort of middle era of video gaming because N64 and the first PlayStation was when I was in high school, and it was really focused more on my education.
Oh, that's silly.
Yeah.
Education.
I'm frustrated by it, but I did have a period of time where I kind of did some remedial game playing, and I picked up on a couple of vital titles. Like, I went back and I played Final Fantasy VII to see what the whole deal was about it.
Right.
And I played a couple of titles back there.
Okay.
And I did have some experience with Banjo-Kazooie, and it did seem very cute. It seems to cause a lot of nostalgic fervor in the internet.
It does, and I think we were talking a bit about how, for a while we were getting like the retro-inspired 8-bit games, and almost like now everything seems like retro-inspired 16-bit, and now it's what the next logical step is to the 32/64-bit era, which I'm a little surprised. I wasn't sure that we were actually going to get a return to these open-world platformer games, like the cutesy, cuddly mascot characters, and here they are, with Yooka-Laylee blowing it out of the park here with $1 million on Kickstarter, and way further than that. This was like last week's news story.
I can't wait for the Bubsy Kickstarter. That's going to be so good. So good.
Have you ever played Bubsy 3D?
No.
Wow. Just wow. I have it. I own it out of pure morbid curiosity. I love bad games. They're one of my favorite things to play. Just awful games. But Bubsy takes it to a new level where you can't even control your character. Like, trying to make him run in a straight line is the hardest thing ever. Oof. Yeah, like just turning, you have to stop and like turn on an axis and then continue walking and turn.
Isn't that kind of like Resident Evil though?
If it was like Resident Evil, it would be playable. This is not like Resident Evil. This is horrible. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for Yooka-Laylee, mostly because when Microsoft bought Rare, I was like, that is what a huge feather in their cap. Like, this is going to be amazing. Like, these are the Nintendo titles that Microsoft is missing from their like grown-up game catalog. And I thought they were just going to run with it. And then we never really saw. We saw Viva Pinata and Perfect Dark Zero. Is that right? And then Connect Sports. And that's all Rare's been allowed to do for like the last 6 years.
Well, didn't they do the Banjo-Kazooie remake? Nuts and Bolts? Or was that a different company?
There was it was a DLC title. And there was also Conquer Live and Reloaded, I think, on the original Xbox.
Yeah, Grabbed by the Ghoulies.
So there were titles, but nothing that really gave them like...
Other than Viva Pinata, I don't think any of that was really good.
And Viva Pinata is definitely divisive. I know a ton of people who just hate that game and wanted to love it. Yeah.
It's like Animal Crossing. Not like Animal Crossing. It's like Harvest Moon. You're just making your little farm. It's good. That's what I bought my 360 for. It's great.
So I was going to go buy Bully. Remember Bully?
I do
Rockstar?
remember Bully, yes.
I wanted to play that recently, and I realized I don't have it, which is strange.
You have everything.
I'm getting there. And I wanted to, of course, with being a Rockstar game, I wanted to get it on the best system possible, best frame rate and everything. So I was looking for the original Xbox version, because it was a PS2 game, and no GameCube version. Makes sense. And it was one of those it came out at a strange time, where there was a PS2 version and a 360 version, and no original
and
Xbox
a Wii
version. There was no Wii version. Was there?
There totally was a Wii version.
Oh, that's the answer.
Yeah.
Wii, Bull. I'm not going to be able to read that later.
Yeah, whatever.
Wibble. Wibble. Okay, so the Wii it is. All right. Because I don't have a 360. All these years later, I still don't have a 360. How am I missing that?
I don't know.
That's strange.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on there.
Because I still want to play Alan Wake. I feel like that's the reason for me to buy a 360.
Yeah, that seems like your type of game.
Yeah, awful.
Yeah. Alan Wake got okay reviews.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did. I need to write these things down. The whole on the phone idea was... Yeah.
That's why I got the notebook.
So next, in response to the last story, Rare proper is going to announce a new game at E3. What could it be?
I mean, Grabbed by the Ghoulies too.
Two, right?
Yeah, still grabbing.
But what would make you care about Rare again? This is not the same Rare that we once knew. This is a stripped down version. Probably 15 people left. Everyone else is at Platonic Games making Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah. Wizards and Warriors 4.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I think your speculation last week was
Battletoads.
Battletoads,
Yeah.
and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think that's probably with the cameo and Shovel Knights. I think it's probably going to be something along those lines, which could be okay.
Yeah, as long as I figure what Ukulele has shown them is there's some money to be made on the sort of retrophilia pitch, and the one thing they still have their hands on that doesn't feel like it's already been taken care of by Ukulele is something like Battletoads.
Yeah, totally. And what kind of game would that be then? Like, what's the proper new version of Battletoads? We haven't seen that since really the 16-bit era, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be like a 3D brawler, like God of War style, or something like that. And hopefully they'll take note from the arcade games instead of the old console games, because the arcade game was pretty great.
I can't envision that in my head in a way that would make me care about it.
Yeah. I mean, well, since Battletoads were already kind of a shitty knockoff of the Ninja Turtles, who themselves are kind of struggling for relevancy these days, it's...
The first movie, the new movie, did really well.
Yeah.
Despite it being not a good movie. I wanted to that.
Yeah, maybe I'm just hoping that
I hear really good things about the TV show on Nickelodeon, though. Like, if you like Ninja Turtles, at least the way you remember them, then the show on Nickelodeon is where you should go.
Yeah. I did watch, I think the first episode, and I would totally watch more of it. It's definitely still aimed at kids. Like, it's not like the Batman animated series or anything like that. But yeah, it's decent. And it's certainly better than... We have great memories of the original show as kids, but if you go back and watch those now, they're horrible.
Yeah.
They're really bad. And so this new Nickelodeon version is at least watchable. What were we talking about?
I don't know how anybody can
watch...
Old
stuff coming back.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody can watch Ninja Turtles now that Reginald Bell Johnson is dead.
Who?
It's the voice of Shredder, Uncle Phil.
Oh my god.
He died.
I totally forgot that he died.
Yeah.
And of course, it didn't click to you said Uncle Phil, and I was like, Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Guys, so I've been...
I think that's Reginald Bell Johnson.
This is not newsworthy, but I realized recently that my Genesis collection has been... gone very unloved for a very long time. I had like a few key titles, like really boring key titles, and recently I was like, I gotta go back and... What am I missing, you know? That was a mistake. That was a mistake for my wallet. There's a mistake for my OCD collecting. I'm in big trouble.
There's a moment like this in every one of these shows that we do, where Brian's like, so I decided to look into this system, and that was a mistake.
Yeah,
it's like it's like one of those 2020 documentaries, and that's when things went horribly wrong.
Behind the music.
Yeah, behind the music, yeah.
Everything
he had it all.
Black and white.
Yeah, he had it all. Fame, fortune, family.
Right here, everything.
Turning black and white, with the red text on it.
Yeah.
But a tragic addiction to video game collecting ruined his life.
He just couldn't stop jerking off in movie theaters.
I wouldn't say ruining his life. I'd say been ruining for the better part of 2 decades. I had kind of forgotten that Konami had made all these like exclusive versions of games like Contra, Hardcore, Castlevania, Bloodlines,
all of which got like stupidly expensive within the last couple of years.
And of course, what brought it up was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist.
That one's not too bad.
No, they're all fucking ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah. They're all about $80 to $100.
Oh my god, that was like $20 like 2 years ago.
Yeah, Brian is broke.
Oh.
But loving the Hyperstone Heist.
Yeah, this is a pretty good reputation.
Yeah, it's... I oddly like it better than the Super Nintendo Turtles in Time, which I don't think is the popular opinion.
No.
I just think I have to like it more because I paid more. Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like a best of all the console Turtles games I've heard. They like took levels from some of the NES ones and from Turtles in Time and just kind of smushed them into one game.
Yeah, it has that feeling. And Turtles in Time is like, it's a good game, but I've always hated the concept of time traveling through games. I always thought it was like, just like, it's almost like the fire level trope, the ice level, the desert, I gotta start in Green Hill Zone, it's gotta be that grassy area. Going through time is almost cheesier, I think, than those concepts.
As a huge fan of Chrono Trigger and Time Splitters, I have to respectfully disagree.
And I think that was my problem with Time Splitters, is that it felt so disjointed. I always thought that this could be such a great game if it just focused. I know.
Wasn't that what Haze was?
No,
their
Haze
first...
was awful.
Yeah, but that's what it was.
There was no focus at all in Haze. There was... Anyway, I'm done. I don't want to get mad. But yeah, Chrono Trigger is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's people watching. And we're back. Yeah. Guys, so there's a new Kickstarter, which actually isn't taking off as well as I thought it would. But who knows? Maybe something's changed. It's called Mystic Searches. You guys heard of this?
No, this is new to me.
Yeah, right. And with a
Is
generic
it
name.
is it a search engine for how to find Mystic Pizza restaurants?
You did know this.
Yeah.
All right. It's with such a generic name, I'm not terribly surprised that it hasn't caught on. But it's weird because it sort of takes the idea of game development and kind of flip-flops it a bit. I'm a huge fan of like homebrew games and reproductions, kind of stuff. Like anything new I can put in my Nintendo or Super Nintendo, I love. So these, who are the people that made this? I don't know. But the game's called Mystic Searches, and it's a new game for PC and current gen consoles. But it also has like a supplement game that is going to be released on the original Nintendo.
Oh, wow.
So it's a Kickstarter that has 2 projects in the works that are supposed to work together.
Did you ever? This is a little bit of a digression, which I know is totally unlike us.
We never go off the rails.
Did you ever play the NES style Dark Void, the downloadable Dark Void?
No,
because Dark Void got notoriously bad reviews,
right.
But everyone said the like DLC, NES version was really, really good.
Really?
Yeah.
So check it out.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. But I mean, what this is to get us back on track. This is a pretty cool concept, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
The problem is that even in their Kickstarter, they don't sound like they're terribly confident in either product.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like I know what they're even doing in the first place. Like, look at all the other successful Kickstarters, like Shovel Knight. You knew you were getting kind of a Mega Man / DuckTales side-scroller.
Right.
Ukulele, you're getting the spiritual successor to Banjo and Kazooie. Mm-hmm. Bloodstained, you're getting another Castlevania.
Oh, is that the new what's his name?
Are we going to talk? Yeah, Koji Igarashi.
Oh my god!
Are we going to talk about that?
Please, let's derail this right now.
That's much more important.
Right, because I totally forgot about that, and it wasn't in my list of news stories here.
I would have brought it up.
Thank you. Tell the people at home all about this. Because,
so it's the guy. It's the guy that was very involved with Symphony of the Night, and of all or almost all of the post Symphony of the Night Castlevanias, he's been the lead developer.
Like every GBA, every DS. Right?
Almost. I don't think he was on Circle of the Moon, the first Game Boy Advance one. I don't think he didn't do the N64 games either.
I'm just gonna have to do this.
Oh,
serious time.
Fine, for Castlevania, I'll take the hat off. So he has started a Kickstarter because he left Konami a couple of years ago, and we'd all kind of figured like, well, that's the end of non-shitty God of War knockoff style Castlevania.
They're so bad.
They are really bad, like really bad. But this is now his goal to make the spiritual successor to Castlevania, Bloodstained. But it's not just like his vanity project. I mean, he's got what's her name, Michiru Yamane, the woman who did the music for a lot of the Castlevania games. Nice. He's got Inti Creates to do the development, and Inti Creates is the one that did all of the Mega Man 0 games and Mega Man 9 and 10. So these are people, and I was listening to or reading an interview with him, and he said he had approached them because they've always said, as a developer, they want to make 3 games. They want to make Mega Man, they want to make Castlevania, and they want to make Zelda. So they've done Mega Man very well. So now it's their turn. It's their time to turn to Castlevania.
Awesome. Now, do we know what kind of art style this is going to be? Is it going to be like retro inspired? Is it going to be like new HD?
I don't know, because they had some like test screens, but I don't know if those were just things people painted up, because those looked very HD, very smooth animation, not pixelated. But I don't know. I would think especially if he's got Inti Creates on board, that they would want to do it as kind of an old style game.
It could be an option that they tack on into the package as they get more funding. Like Yooka-Laylee now has the N64 rendering mode.
Oh, the Garrod shading.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Which is going to look awful.
Awesome. I mean, I know you have. Did you watch the video announcing Bloodstained?
No.
It's fucking crazy.
Really?
It's like Koji Igarashi just walking around this castle, like quoting Dracula and like throwing glasses of wine and
amazing.
Just like he's just like off the fucking chain. And this Kickstarter made it was a $500,000 to get the game made.
Okay.
It made $800,000 within like a couple of hours of announcing. Wow. So they are like shooting past all of their reach goals.
That's great.
So my Kickstarter is going to be raising the $10,000 that I need to have dinner with Koji Igarashi to talk about Bloodstained.
You have a Kickstarter to fund the Kickstarter.
Yeah, exactly. What's that other thing that's not Kickstarter but that's basically the same thing?
GoFundMe?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Or Indiegogo?
Maybe. No, I think I was thinking of GoFundMe. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's exciting news.
Oh, Patreon. Sure. That's what I was thinking of.
Patreon's more of an installment thing. It's like, I know a couple of friends who are artists who have Patreon accounts, and it's kind of a thing where you can contribute sort of subscription style. Say you have an artist or a content producer who is doing something that you like, and they say, well, I'd like to have this thing that I do give me a little more income. So even if you just contribute like $1 a month, it'll help go towards, me creating more of this stuff. And say you put in $5 a month as a subscription, I'll give you access to like development stage of what I'm working on, maybe some secret art I've been doing on the side, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, for my Patreon, it will be $10,000 a month, so I can have dinner with Koji Igarashi every month, and I would be really happy.
Nothing's ever good enough.
And you could all feel good about making me happy and enriching my life.
How much more do you need for him to bring a translator? Otherwise, this weird thing where you talk and he talks and no one knows what's going on, so you get drunk and this is great.
We would know. We would know. We would look deeply into each other's eyes and we would know what was going on.
Moving on. Oh, I'm so sorry to ruin your fantasy, Mike. No. All right.
Your phone dies.
April
is over.
But NPD numbers are in for April, and Xbox One has finally outsold PlayStation 4 for the first month since they launched. Crazy.
Yeah.
As an owner of both consoles, I would say it's about fucking time. Obviously competition is a great thing. I want both consoles to be neck and neck the entire duration. Otherwise, you're going to see third parties like all head to like last generation, the 360 got all the Call of Duties and everything. Like you could tell the focus was there.
Well, it did launch $200 less expensive, so
and a year earlier.
Yeah.
So there was a good reason for sure. I don't know. Do you guys have any feelings about the Xbox One's kind of trail in the race or current jump?
Well, at least from a personal standpoint, I've pretty much decided I'm going to go PS4 whenever I do upgrade. Because I just haven't really heard anybody say anything good about the Xbox One. I mean, both you got one and you were like, this sucks, but I was like, well, Brian likes his Sony.
I do. I like my PlayStation.
But my brother, who has only bought Xbox systems and Nintendo systems for Smash Brothers, he bought an Xbox One and he was also like, this kind of sucks, and I don't think he really ever uses it.
Yeah. I unfortunately have still only turned mine on 4 times since November when I bought it, which is a bad sign.
To just check to make sure that it will still power up.
Yeah, I actually, the last time I turned it on, I went onto the Microsoft Store, whatever it's called, and downloaded like 3 different games. I was like, this is going to be my way.
Yeah.
Like I did Dark Dreams Don't Die, D4, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And
just like, here we go, we're going to play some...
Immediately sucked of all motivation.
Like for some reason it downloads really, really slow. The installation takes like hours and hours for some reason, like even off of a disc. Forget about like downloaded games. I don't know what's going on with this thing. And the last time, so I turned it on the last time to download all those things, and it was like a day later, like none of it had installed, and I was like, well, I guess I'll get around to it eventually. And so I don't know if it's even done. I'm sure it's done, but I don't know if it downloads in the background or what the deal is. There's probably been firmware updates in the last 6 months that I haven't checked on. So hopefully things are more up to speed now. I think the dashboard was supposed to be a little bit more accessible than it's been. So as much shit as I talk about Xbox One, I want it to succeed. I want it to be neck and neck the whole time.
Yeah, I do not want, as much as I probably will get the PS4 for Bloodborne. I do not want Sony to have undisputed domination, because they did for 2 generations, and it really fucked them up. Yeah, they were terrible.
They definitely got a superiority complex, and they were like, I remember when the PlayStation 3 was announced, they were like, it's $600, and you'll have to get a second job to pay for it.
Yeah, that was their thing. They were like, we're such a big deal,
right.
And
people will buy it at any price. Like, people would buy it at $1,000.
Yeah, that's what they said. They're like, well, when people complained, they're like, whoa, dude, this is way more expensive than a 360.
The
and
memes
people were like,
flew fast and furious.
Yeah,
on
they
that.
were like,
giant enemy crabs.
Yeah,
sorry.
$599 US, $599 US, $599 US, and everyone was just like,
right.
Oh.
And then it just cuts to that scene from the Last Crusade when the guy drinks from the wrong grail.
His face starts melting away. Yeah.
Not bad. 2 Last Crusade references in one.
Oh,
podcast.
I've got more.
Oh.
And all that's left is this little button with the Sony logo on it stuck to the wall.
That's great. So Hidetaki Suihiro. God, I hope I got that
bless
name
you.
right. Thank you. For anybody who doesn't know, it's Deadly Premonitions developer. Sweary, as they like to call him, because it's easier to pronounce his
seriously.
name. He has talked about some new plans he has for a new game.
to clean out his garage.
Well, so he's actually the guy who made D4, the game I was talking about on Xbox One, which is great. I love, like, even though Deadly Premonition didn't resonate with me so much, I like how weird he is. Like, he's maintained that Japanese weirdness when all these other Japanese developers are trying to be, like, very Western. So I like that he's not caving.
Didn't he do a crossover thing recently with Grasshopper? Wasn't there something about the guys from Deadly Premonition showing up in, like, a different game? Or was it D4?
I have no idea. It might be D4. It's not done installing.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get back to you on that one,
sure,
folks.
4 to 7 episodes.
Yeah.
No, so I want to read this quote. Well, he was talking a little bit about wanting to go back to Deadly Premonition and make a sequel, which I think everybody would love.
Yeah, that could work.
So he said, but this is the quote, I'm just going to read it verbatim. Aside from that, I'm also working on a story about a high school girl detective, go figure, who uses the imagination / fantasizing energy from masturbating to help her solve murders. He continued, but all the publishers keep telling me there's no way we could put out such a perverted game.
Oh, man. How
he says,
those prudes.
I wish somebody would let me make it.
He needs to get his hands on one of those hikikomori, startup artists, because they have. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Toho series of shooters.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was all one guy.
Yeah.
If he wants to do his crazy ass jerk off fantasy game that's going to sell to every creepy shut-in in Japan and go sell like
there are a
hotcakes,
lot of them.
He just needs to find one guy willing to put in the work, and he's set to jet.
I mean, that's what's
literally.
This is what's great about the digital age. As much as we kind of like lament losing a lot of retail space.
There's so much more pornography. It's everywhere.
Well,
what are you doing? Why are you watching this? You should be looking at pornography.
But games that would have no chance of being published these days they can be self-published right on,
for better or for
worse. Yeah,
but at least I would rather wade through a pile of bad games to find that really good game that no one's talking about than to not have it at all.
It's like Thomas Jefferson said, I'd rather 100 filthy, smutty, horrible games get made than one good game not get made.
Oh my god.
TJ really knew his shit.
Look it up, folks.
You see, this is
hilarious.
Something that I encounter a lot in my being a fan of anime. And working in an anime convention, I've seen the industry kind of flutter in like the late 90s and early thousands, it was super hot, and there was new stuff coming out all the time,
Yep.
and it was just a great time for anime. But then after a while, the industry started getting very focused on making a very particular sort of anime, and it was mostly focused on high school girls doing things and being kind of cute and helpless. And
winding up in hilariously compromising positions.
yes, and it feels like as that kind of, they're pitching more and more towards the kind of audience that will definitely consume that, you're getting this sort of alarming, hyper-concentrated focus that's basically just, we're making animes for the housebound creeps. So you get stuff
They know
like...
their market.
Yeah.
You get stuff like the jerk-off detective, or
I hope that's what he calls it. Oh my
Jerk-off
god.
That'd be great.
or Saikon no Quasar, which was about getting power from drinking breast milk. And
I've been missing out on so much.
I know, you guys need to talk off the air.
even
You can give him a list.
even mainstream stuff like Kill la Kill, which was Trigger, and it was not super edgy. The stuff that they did in it was basically, you had that part in the beginning where it's like, oh, look at how her outfit transforms into this skimpy, ridiculous thing in the beginning, and she's all running around, like, blushing and covering herself. Like, I don't want to be in this skimpy outfit. I feel like a slut. And, she's ending up spread-eagled against walls and all that sort of thing. And it feels like you have to wade through all that junk to get to the good stuff. Luckily, Kill la Kill got to a point where everybody was naked, so nobody cared about it anymore.
Well, kill. No.
It's a great anime. I really enjoyed it. And this was coming from a standpoint of, coming into those first couple of episodes where they were doing that thing of, oh my god, I don't want to expose myself, blah, blah, blah. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still complete fan service. There's a lot of arguments going around fandom of, oh, is this feminist? Yeah, she is exposing her body and she does not care about the consequence. She is embracing her femininity and her sexuality. It's still an opportunity to look at girls fighting and, striking those really exposing poses in skimpy outfits. Call it for what it is. But at the same time, it's also really engaging. There are some great characters in it, and you start to grow to love the characters, and when it takes its heavy turn right around the middle of the series, you find yourself just really thrilled and engaged, and it was just really good. I suppose it's a mixed bag. Like, don't let anybody tell you it's any sort of liberating philosophy. But you can still have a really good time watching it.
Well, and see, this type of anime, this type of game, this type of everything isn't going away. And as if people keep promoting it, then it's going to stick around. But I think you made an excellent point where, like, you can sort of have this flimsy premise, or like these flimsy. You said the word trope once. Now I'm using it over and over. But
it's a good word.
Flimsy anime tropes. But if it's enjoyable, and if there's a good story involved, like I was playing Akiba's Trip or Akiba's Strip on PS4, and I don't know if you're familiar with the game, but what you do is you run around Akihabara and you fight people who are like vampires basically, and to expose them you tear off their clothes. It's super flimsy premise, but the game was so much fun. Like during a time where like I wasn't finishing any game and I had no attention span, I spent like 30 hours with this game, and had no idea that, like, I knew what it was about before I got it, and I really was like, I'm going to play this for 2 hours, it's going to go up on the shelf, I'm never going to play it again. And then I played it from start to finish, like non-stop. No other game got in my way. I was like, what happened? Like, that was a really fun game based on a really flimsy premise. So as long as they have enough content and like give you stuff to like, make it enjoyable, then I'm kind of okay with it. It's just when it's really flat and two-dimensional, when you're like, this is really pervy, I can't get into it.
Well, I find that sometimes comes out of Japan with certain works like comics and animes, where you'll get a person who is just really into a very particular sort of thing. Like, I'm really about rock music and kind of the system of building a band, so you'll get these animes about people having a band and trying to get successful. Okay. Or you'll have people who are really into cooking, and you'll have a cooking anime or a cooking manga, and you'll find yourself really engaged by it.
I need to branch out. Sounds good.
If there's any kind of hobby in the world, there's probably some sort of single writer mangaka making it and sort of doing it and distributing it on
Shipping a
his
bottle
own.
building. Oh, God, so good.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the weirdest sort of hobby / niche interest anime or manga that I've heard about, and it's
watching.
It's slipping my mind, but it really gets ridiculous.
Well, there is that stupid Hikaru no Go or whatever, where they're playing Japanese style chess, and that's like. That's the whole
yeah.
thing.
There was a music video at Anime Boston this year. It was an anime about kids playing mahjong, and somebody made an AMV of it, and it made it out to be like, mahjong is the most thrilling freaking game you will ever play. And they had all these crazy effects when they were laying down their little mahjong pieces, and there were explosions and stuff. I guess it's kind of like the Yu-Gi-Oh phenomenon. You're playing a card game, but if you render enough of the experience into, like, this is an actual battle, it can become engaging.
I don't even know where to go with this. Like, I mean, if people are watching, then that's great, I guess, right? Like, the more diverse you can get, the better, I suppose. Right?
Yeah, but...
I don't know, I'm still sitting here trying to think of pervy detective puns. Agatha Christie's the best that I've got so far.
Did Swery make No More Heroes?
No, that was Grasshopper.
I always get, for some reason, I get
them mixed up.
Who's the Grasshopper? There's a guy there, though, right?
Yeah.
I always get them back.
Yeah,
back and forth.
I get those mixed up too.
It's kind of a mixed bag when you get into that sort of, I'm using my niche interest as the fuel for this media, because sometimes it can be super engaging and you can bring people into this hobby that people didn't think about, but other times it can just sort of spiral down into, oh, he's just going on and on and on talking about, like, military history or, like, guns or military vehicles, and there's no story going on here.
Did you, the last... Miyazaki movie that I believe came out, The Wind Rises.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch that?
I haven't seen that
I
yet.
did not.
Because you have or not?
I have not.
Neither of you guys have.
I see it right over on your shelf, though.
And that's where it'll stay.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge fan of everything Miyazaki. And so I was like, I got to get this. This is supposedly his last film. He said this like 200 times.
He's the Hideo Kojima of animation.
Yeah, if this is where his films are going, like if this is apparently a very personal film for him, so I don't want to be too judgmental.
It's just the camera following him around throughout his day, like doing laundry and like watching TV. It's all rotoscoped.
It's
They've got a documentary that's kind of like that.
I'm sure they do.
I'm just going to warn you guys that this is unlike anything else Miyazaki's made. Like, there's not a whole lot of like the fantastic in it. It's like it's not like an imaginary world. It's not. It's very historical based, and I think it's actually somewhat biographical. I forget the name of the character who's in it, but it's like about development of like certain warplanes and stuff.
Yeah, it was about the guy who developed what went on to become the Zero fighter that was used in World War II.
Yep, exactly. And it's rough. Like, I mean, I struggled to get through it, and I don't think I'm going to watch it again. And I feel bad almost, because when somebody... I don't want to be that guy who like listens to like his favorite band, and for 3 albums I'm like, I love this band, and then the 4th album comes out and I'm like, they sold out. This isn't the music that I love. They changed direction, and now they don't.
I can't masturbate to this anymore.
Right. So and it kind of goes through like all different mediums, I guess. You want to be able to follow an artist and
through all his periods.
Right. And you want to give that person the benefit of the doubt. Be like, give that person the freedom to express however they want to, because you want them to keep creating, so you keep following them and keep, giving your money and making sure that they continue to exist. Mm-hmm. So I hate being this person, but
You're not feeling it. You're not feeling it when you feel kind of guilty because of the name attached to it. You feel like
guilty.
You should feel it.
Yeah.
Well, the way I look at it is this. Just because The Wind Rises exists doesn't mean that Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away doesn't exist.
Right. It makes me nervous for like what comes next. Like is this like his one-off where it's like, well, it's going to be a little bit different. you know, and then I'm going to go back and do, you know, what people expect from me? Or is this like the transition period where like things start to get more realistic and things start to get, and so it does not affect at all what I think of his older movies. I love everything Miyazaki, but yeah, this one threw a curveball, big time.
Well, Miyazaki has gone on record as saying he doesn't really expect this sort of thing to go on forever. He's said in documentaries, speaking very philosophically, that he expects this sort of thing to end eventually, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And to use the rock band analogy again, like, you don't have to feel guilty because eventually, you know, a one-off experimental album I think is okay, and you should give people the benefit of the doubt. But eventually, there comes a point where it's like there are too many didgeridoos in this song. Like,
it's true. It's true. All right, enough of Miyazaki.
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
I've got one more news topic to talk about this week, and I think it's sort of just like the time has come. In this news story, as much as I don't care about it, tells us where we are in the lifespan of our video game consoles. And strange enough, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. Tony Hawk is back, everybody. And it's going to be on 360. It's going to be on Xbox One. It's going to be on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. It's also time for that to end.
Yeah.
Okay? Make it on old-gen consoles or make it on new-gen consoles, but enough of splitting your dev team 4 ways. You're not going to get a good game out of
this is crazy. I feel like we talk about this all the time. Like, this has never happened where a new generation has been out this long. You know, so every once in a while, like the first, you know, some of the launch titles or the first, you know, will be released multi-platform. But this is like, these have been out for a while now.
Yeah, we're like a year and a half, I think, right? Yeah, I think so. So the news story is that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 will not have online functionality for last-gen consoles. Well, what's the point? Like, I'm not an online player, but who the hell is going to buy these games for the last-gen consoles? I don't know. It's just... Start focusing. Start focusing. Like, even Persona 5 is coming to PS3 and PS4. And I think that was I think it was only going to be PS3.
Yeah.
And then when they saw how quickly PS4s were selling, they were like, well, we gotta up-res this and move it on to the new console. Just focus, man, focus. Like, people will buy the new consoles when there are games that are specifically for the new consoles. This is just to the detriment of the game you're making.
Yeah, it sounds to me like they're trying to maximize their exposure.
Of course.
But, you know, like you said, it's going to have the risk of, well, it's not going to be as good quality because they're kind of focused on making sure it's compatible on all platforms.
Right. And you're not much of an online player either.
No.
So this kind of news, and the fact that you're probably not going to buy...
not going to be playing a skateboarding game. Yeah. But, you know...
Yeah. I like Tony Hawk games.
Yeah, well, Tony. Yeah, and Tony Hawk, you know, he needs to make some bank so he can pay his Medicare bills. And
probably
things.
Needs some money. How old is he? Like 50?
I don't know.
He's
like
up
100
there
or something.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know. He's ancient.
All right, guys. So let's see what time we got. It's 1:20. We've been doing this for about an hour. And,
fucking long.
Yeah. Should we skip our topic of the week? I feel like we had
we haven't done a topic of the week in like 2 months.
Yeah,
but
whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
What's up with Whitco?
Whitco. I have to go buy some oven parts. Okay. I'm sure our listeners or our viewers needed to know about my oven mishaps.
Absolutely. Woo! We've been very concerned. You talked about your oven being broken like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I know. It's still broken. I haven't fixed it yet.
Yeah, my refrigerator came from Whitco.
Well,
nice.
If there's one thing that I've known about podcasts and sort of YouTube personalities, people do keep track of those little jokes.
Right? It's really strange. Although I know too much about IGN folk and the kind of funny folk. So I can identify, I guess. All right, well then let's wrap this up a little bit. What are your plans for the next... I was going to say the next week, but really, what are you looking forward to getting into in the next recent... Oh my god, I need more coffee.
Yeah.
I
guess that decaf's really working out for you.
Not at all. What are you looking to get into in terms of manga, in terms of anime, in terms of gaming or anything?
Well, in terms of anime, I just started picking up Ore Monogatari, which is a romance anime and manga about this big, huge dude, kind of like really gruff looking. Looks kind of like a gorilla, honestly.
Okay.
Or sort of kind of the stereotype of what a huge old dude would look like in old Japanese renderings.
Okay.
When you look at the picture of this guy, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's about him being a high schooler and kind of
put a picture there.
Getting his first date. And it's very much kind of... Japan has a very particular set of rules about politeness and romance and how to convey to another person whether you're into them and when you want to go out with them.
Okay.
So it's kind of like this long, protracted dance of suggestion, and nobody
It involves
says...
a lot of jazz hands and pelvic thrusts.
Nobody
You
says
should
anything
see it.
outright.
Look it up, folks. It's fucking crazy.
Nobody says anything outright because it would be considered crass or forward. So this guy... He rescues a girl on the train from being harassed by a groper, and he has had so much experience with all girls he's been into going for his really handsome best friend.
Okay.
So when he starts communicating with this girl, because they had this thing on the train, he thinks that she's into his best friend.
Okay.
So all of his reads of her attempting to get to know him are coming from, she's interested in this guy. She's asking for my email address because she wants to talk to this guy but doesn't want to be too forward about asking for his email address.
This is what you go through with when you hang out with me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay,
Exactly.
just checking.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this silly dance of misinterpreted signals, but it's also kind of sweet. But at the same time, there's this ludicrousness about it because the joke is this dude is huge and really strong, so... Once every episode, they'll have something ridiculous happen, like, oh no, there's an I-beam falling from the construction site, and he saves her from it. And it's just really dramatic. The restaurant that we're having the singles night date at went on fire! And these are the things that literally happen.
Awesome.
And it's just very sweet and very cute and kind of funny in that sort of, why can't anybody say what they want directly outright and just, skip all this schraffagoo.
And you said this isn't just manga, this is anime as well.
Yeah, this has just been started. They've adapted it into an anime right now.
Nice. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
It's very
pretty
sweet.
good.
Nice. And you said there was we talked about Game Grumps, I think, the last time you were here. Have you seen their Punch Out video for the Wii?
Oh, I love watching Danny play Punch-Out. It's so much fun.
You've got to watch this. It's
All
the
right.
funniest thing ever. He keeps getting his ass kicked by Glass Joe.
Yes,
I
because
swear I'm not this bad.
he started the second round, the title defense, because he went through the first one. It's just basically becoming the champion.
Right.
And it was a struggle for him, but he eventually made it to the top. And in title defense mode, everybody is much harder.
Oh, that's what it was.
Now he's got to push so much harder to win these things. And you've never seen frustration in a man until you've seen somebody get their ass handed to them by Glass Joe. It's like, why is this happening? This is a complete antithesis to all I know. This is an embarrassment and an enragement.
There's I think I've talked about it ad nauseum. I think how much I don't like comedies. Like the comedies that actually go to movie theaters. They don't hit those notes for me where I will laugh out loud. But those guys, they know what makes me laugh, and if I need to get into a good mood, I will watch them.
Oh god, they're consistently hysterical, and they've just started playing Symphony of the Night now too, because they got in contact with Igarashi.
Oh really?
Yes, they're going to have.
So go watch Game Grumps and not us.
I'll tag Game Grumps in the video, and maybe Game Grumps people will watch us.
Maybe.
Oh god, talk about a way to boost your hits.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Jesus. They're super funny. I've come to terms with the fact that I don't have that in me to be note for note that funny. I got a good one-liner in maybe once an episode.
It's kind of a remarkable thing about the way we view entertainment, though. It used to be you'd play the video game yourself, but now you watch other people playing the video game, and you would think, why don't you just play the game yourself? But it provides that kind of
more entertainment.
It provides that kind of patter that it feels like you're hanging out with people and just goofing off and making dumb comments.
Because we're all just socially isolated all the time. We don't have any friends.
Hell yeah.
We have digital friends. Speaking of videos, though, apparently there's one going around I forget which group organized this, but somebody plays Symphony of the Night with Koji Igarashi, and he does like a director's commentary for the whole game.
Really?
Wow.
And I've heard that he's drinking the whole time, so like towards the end of it, it's pretty out of control.
Definitely gotta watch that.
That is dope.
So yeah, you should watch that too instead of us.
Instead of us, no one watches.
No.
That's the great thing about this. Is that
It's total freedom. We can just get real racist.
If we even had hundreds and hundreds of viewers, like 400 or 500 viewers, I'd start to get a little nervous. I'd be like, well, we got to tone it back. We got to be like, nice. But when I know that like we're not even going to hit triple digit views on this video,
Well,
fuck it.
fuck it, indeed. Sorry, Dad. I know you don't like when I swear.
It depends on what people see. Like, you might get more hits on this video just because I'm sitting here with my collarbone exposed.
I hope so. That's the reason you're
I mean,
here.
I didn't want to say anything, but
Lord knows it's what's improved my hits on my OkCupid profile. They said to me, this is the best picture of you. This is the one that people are more likely to click on your profile if they see this picture. And I think, oh, of course, it's the one where I'm showing the most skin.
Wait a minute. I think we're on to something.
there we go.
Ready?
Yeah. Okay.
Very nice.
Look at that chest hair.
Very nice.
And we just lost him.
Yeah, I know. You can see the title.
Good night, folks.
Right? All right. Finally, Mike, what are you going to be playing this week?
I'll probably finish those Been There, Dan That, and Time Gentlemen, Please.
I need to check those out.
They're really good. I think you would like them, and they're pretty breezy too. So
And I like easy games.
yeah,
Easy breezy.
I've been kind of thinking about playing Final Fantasy 13. I kind of don't want to because I don't think I'm going to like it, but I've played all of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're good, that's a commitment because
It
like
is.
you're
It's
sort
long.
of committing yourself to 3 games.
Yeah.
Because I hear that Lightning Returns is the best one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't know.
There's
I don't
gotta
know.
be
We'll
something
see.
better.
I'll
And nobody's chaining you to a wall making you do it.
I
You
know,
can
but I
try
you don't
Yeah.
know what happens when you're not around.
yeah.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh my, yeah.
Oh boy, here we go.
Besides that, nothing.
No,
Okay, fuck it.
Who cares?
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking know. I have some old Konami Genesis games to play. I will say Contra Hardcore is fucking impossible.
Yeah, well, it's because they in the Japanese version you had like 3 hits. You could take 3 hits.
What?
Yeah, they took out the life meter in the American version to make
God,
it more
I hope-
consistent.
I hope the Konami code works.
I think so.
There's got to be something because
There's
it's
one of them
so
where the
hard.
Konami code kills you. I don't remember.
There is that. I don't know which one that is.
It's one of their games.
But I'm actually really excited to get the of the 3 games. I was most excited to play the Castlevania Bloodlines.
Oh yeah, Bloodlines is really good.
Yeah.
Like really good.
Because I've completed all those other Castlevania
Yeah, of
games.
course. It's
I'm
part of
so
your
bad
rich history
at
of
finishing
gaming.
games. I start all of them, and then that's where it stops. So besides that, I don't know. I guess I'm going to finish Broken Age, and we'll see what happens after that. So, all right, awesome. Do you have a Twitter handle or anything you want to plug?
Not just yet.
Not just yet.
I'm
We'll keep
out
you
there.
posted.
Not just yet at twitter.com.
The thing is,
whoever that is,
Yeah.
you're gonna get an extra 10.
Yeah, extra time.
I'm out there and I have names that I operate under, but I'm not quite sure I'm ready to
Sure.
connect them up
Yeah.
just yet.
Absolutely. Well, when you come back, hopefully you'll
You're
have
ready
all your
to
ducks in a
found
row
your
and
media empire.
you can promote yourself
Your
next time.
smutty media empire.
Awesome. I will be a follower of your smart empire.
Absolutely.
The mayor of Smuttown is always
he's-
looking
when
for
he's-
new constituents.
When he's not at the movies.
Allison, thank you for joining us today.
You're very welcome.
Mike, I can't believe you come back every week.
I don't know.
Happy
Where
fucking birthday,
else?
man.
Thanks.
Yeah, the big 3-2.
3-2, yeah.
It's just downhill from here.
Of course. I can just feel myself deteriorating.
For Gaming Without Parole, I'm Bryan Paul,
I'm Allison.
I'm Mike Zeller.
and we'll see you next week.